Holmes. We have to investigate this crime. Luckily, we have Miss Marvel, this famous detective, here to help us.
All right.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ace Detective Miss Clarissa Marvels. I have come here from Scotland Yard, here to the Berkshire Town Hall, to investigate the strange and mysterious disappearance of the well-known mystery writer Agatha Christie. No one leaves this room. A pall of suspicion has been cast over all of you. Should anyone attempt to leave, I warn you, there is an armed bobby just outside the door who will give you a sound thrashing with his nightstick. You look like you might enjoy that. A twisted individual, don't try anything. Now then, I must look round to see if there are any suspicious persons here. You, madam, you look like you're hiding something. Confession is good for the soul. Is there something you'd like to get off your chest?
I take your picture.
No, this is not a time for picture taking. This is a criminal investigation, madam. Don't try to distract me. You are a suspect. Now then, sir, didn't I see you down in the lineup in Scotland Yard last week?
Yes.
I thought so. Another. And your partner? I don't know who that is, but you're going on my list of suspects also. Now then, let us review the facts of the case. On 3rd December 1926, at 21:45, Agatha Christie left her home in Styles, Berkshire, following an altercation with her husband, Colonel Archibald Christie. The nature of this argy-bargy will be revealed in due time. Suffice it to say, it will be shocking to all those who hold their marriage vows dear. That would be you, wouldn't it, madam?
Naturally.
Thought so. Well, I pegged you for a respectable woman.
Thank you.
When that sordid part comes up, you must cover your ears. I will give you fair warning. Now then, where was I? Oh, yes. She kissed her sleeping daughter, Rosalind, goodnight. Then she tore out of her estate in her Morris Crowley roadster like a bat out of hell, headed for the moors. It was a dark and stormy night. Mrs. Christie has not been seen these 11 days hence. When she did not return home, a search party was sent out to look for her. There, on the bank of a lake called the Silent Pool, they found her roadster with the lights on and the bonnet up. Inside was a fur coat, an expired driver's license, and one shoe. Mrs. Christie was nowhere to be seen. I might also add, this was the exact location of the death of a character in one of her novels. Coincidence?
I think so.
I think not. Over 15,000 volunteers have joined the search for the dear lady. Bloodhounds, divers from the Royal Navy, the bird-watching brigade of Berkshire, of which I am the president. They have all come up empty-handed. Has Mrs. Christie been kidnapped by a rival author jealous of her success? Or is her lifeless corpse lying at the bottom of the lake, being gobbled up by bloodthirsty bottom feeders? One thing's certain, something's afoot, and I mean to get to the bottom of it. Now then, I must swear you all in as material witnesses to a crime. Everyone raise their right hand. The other right. Repeat after me. I swear to tell the truth.
I swear to tell the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
God save the king.
God save the king.
Oh, that reminds me of our national anthem. We must all sing it. God save our gracious king. Long live our noble king. God save the king. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the king. I noticed some of you weren't singing. Oh, what an unpatriotic bunch. Well, there's nothing to do but to teach it to you. Now then, I'll have to drag some volunteers up here to learn it. You. Just happen to have the lyrics. How about you? And you. Fake it. Come on, come on. Oh, and we need a flag bearer. Who would like to be the flag bearer? This gentleman in the yellow shirt, perhaps? Oh, he's shy. Be the flag bearer. Stand there. I will conduct you. 1, 2, 3.
God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King.
Give him a hand. Do you, have you studied opera?
I was reading her lips.
I think you have a career at the Covent Garden Opera House ahead of you. Thank you, sir. Don't try to steal it. So precious. Now then. I have had, Mrs. Christie had some balmy neighbors who've threatened to do somebody in. Is there anybody here who wants to do somebody in? You! Ah, who do you want to do in?
I'm not sure. I'll still consider it.
Thinking about it, we will keep our eyes on you. You look like a very suspicious person. But I cannot allow these dangerous people to distract me from my investigation. I must find my notes. Anybody knit? Who? Oh,
Would you like me to finish the shawl?
Huh.
Oh, where is it? Where are my notes? Anyone play? We could use a little musical accompaniment. No? All right. Ah, here they are. Now then. Half a cup of suet, a cup of currants or raisins. Oh no, that's my recipe for spotted dick. Here is my list of suspects. Very good, very good. My first suspect will be Mrs. Christie's sister, Madge Watts. That would be you, wouldn't it? Come up here, Madge. Come on. Come on. Come on, come on. Mrs. Watts, you are yourself a writer, are you not?
Of sorts.
What have you written?
Poetry.
That's a lie. You wrote a play that was done in the West End, and it was a big flop.
Oh, you know about that.
Yes, indeed. It's common knowledge. Were you jealous of your sister?
No, I don't think so.
Another lie. Don't try to trick me, Mrs. Where did you and Agatha grow up?
New Jersey.
Where is that? New Jersey? You grew up in a seaside town in England called Torquay. Yes, that's where the great train robbery took place and where Charlotte Lee killed her infant son. Ring a bell? Ring a bell, Mrs. Watts?
Kind of vaguely.
I see. Mrs. Watts, where were you on the night of December 3rd?
December 5th?
3rd.
Don't remember.
Conveniently forgot. That was the night your sister disappeared. Maybe you had something to do with that. No. Oh, no alibi, no witnesses, the plot thickens.
Oh, no.
Mrs.
My sister.
You might have done her in because you were jealous of her. I don't believe you. You're getting on my list of suspects, Mrs. Watts. But before I let you go, I need to interrogate your niece, little Rosalind Christie. Is she here today? Where is she?
Right there. Crossing her arms.
Oh, come up here, Rosalind. Have a seat, Mrs. Watts. Come here, Rosalind. Oh, little Rosalind. How old are you, ducks? 12. You don't look a day over 10. Oh, isn't she sweet? Are you upset because your mummy's gone missing?
Yeah.
Oh, poor little thing. There's no need to throw a wobber. I can make you feel better. Would you like some love hearts? Oh, good. Rosalind, now I need your help. When was the last time you spoke to your mummy?
Yesterday.
That is a lie, Rosalind. Your mother's been missing 10 days. Go to your seat. Oh, I am getting nowhere with these relatives. I must interrogate some of Mrs. Christie's neighbors. You, get up here. Put that cup down. Put it down. Put it down. You are Lady Hortense Hopwell Hoggins, are you not?
I am.
Thought so. You're one of those flappers who hangs around speakeasies and drinks bathtub gin with gangsters, are you not? Yes, I know all about your checkered past. You have a criminal record, don't you, Mrs. Hopwell Hoggins?
I do.
Yes. In fact, I have a witness who will swear she saw you nipping the communion wine after a meeting of St. Ignatius Altar Guild. Do you deny that?
Not at all.
Yes, in fact, she said she saw you licking the communion chalice and wiping red liquid off your face with the altar cloth. I mean, what sacrilege, right? I am shocked. But that isn't all I have on you, Miss Hopwell Hoggins.
I don't doubt it. I doubt it.
In fact, you were involved in a blood feud with Mrs. Christie, weren't you? Over the perpetual plundering of your prized petunias by her pet pussycat, Professor Pouncer.
That's perfectly correct.
Yes. In fact, you wrote her this note, did you not? Read it.
If I find that a flea-bitten feline in my flowers, I'll flog him.
If I find that flea-bitten feline in my flowers, I'll flog him. Shocking. Not a pussycat lover, are you?
No.
Did you, in a blind fury over the destruction of your prized petunias, follow Mrs. Christie that dark and stormy night and push her into the lake?
I'm not sure.
Things are looking very bleak for you, Mrs. Hopwell Hoggins. In fact, the morning after Mrs. Christie disappeared, Cook found this on the doorstep. It is, in fact, the mutilated body of the unfortunate and now late Professor Pouncer.
I had nothing at all to do with it.
Even if you didn't kill Mrs. Christie, catricide is a crime in these parts, Lady Hopwell-Hawkins. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you all to lock up your pussies immediately until this crime is solved. Sit down. But that's not the only suspect we have here today. You yellow shirt. Get up here. You are Reginald Horncastle, are you not?
Yes, I am.
You're Mrs. Christie's close neighbor, right?
That's correct.
Isn't it true you were secretly enamored of Mrs. Christie?
Not that secretly.
Yes, indeed. It was not that secret. In fact, you wrote her this MASH note, did you not? Read it.
I would need my glasses.
Who can read without glasses? Oh, all right.
Reading, just plain reading. Oh.
Aggie?
Aggie.
Aggie.
I'd.
I let. What?
Oh,
Oh,
never
really?
mind. Aggie, I'd like to butter your crumpets.
I am also
You are a very sick man. But that, you know, butter your crumpets, what did you mean by that?
The meaning of crumpet.
I see I'm getting nowhere with you. Mr. Horncastle. You were seen sneaking out of Mrs. Christie's bedroom one morning while she was out taking her daily constitutional. And when she returned, she found some unmentionables missing. Sir, Scotland Yard searched your premises and they came up with these.
Oh my goodness.
They were underneath your pillow. What were you doing with Mrs. Christie's unmentionables?
So they finally found out.
Very twisted individual. I am going to have to put you under arrest. All right. Do not leave the premises.
No, I will not.
Very sick person. Sit down. Now then, I must look round here for some more evidence. This is obviously a very dangerous place. A bloody carving knife. The White Tart Pub. Seems we have a kleptomaniac in our midst, and a murderous one at that. This knife could gut a grizzly bear. Well, I happen to know we have a barmaid from that establishment here today. You in the blue shirt, up here. Over here. You're Elsie Cornfoot, are you not?
Yes, madam.
You're a barmaid at the White Tart Pub?
Regrettably so.
Now, don't get upset, Elsie. You're not under suspicion. Not yet. Now then, have you noticed any patrons at your pub behaving strangely?
All of them.
Well, there are a bunch of dipsos, that makes perfect sense. But perhaps you heard them say something suspicious. In vino veritas,
Indeed.
that means Latin for you blab when you're blotto. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Did you hear anything?
Oh, plenty.
Yes, well, perhaps It was yourself who said something incriminating. I happen to know, Miss Cornfoot, that you were very angry at Mrs. Christie because she left your pub without paying her bill. Do you deny that?
No, madam.
And I also know that your employer deducted the amount of her bill from your salary. What do you have to say to that?
That rankled.
Indeed it did. Did you kill Mrs. Christie because she stiffed you?
No.
I don't believe you. Tell the truth. Tell the truth right now, Elsie. We've got to get to the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Oh, God. Sit down. I just can't stand this job sometimes. I can't get anywhere with these suspects. I must have a little lizard liqueur. His doctor's orders. You know, I wasn't cut out for this kind of work. I came from a nice family. My father was a greengrocer down in Tinkerbush. It was a good life. Until one day Mum and I came in and we found him sitting on the potty, floating bottles of orange crush in the bathtub and chewing on his slippers. Well, after they took him away, Mum and I tried to carry on, but then a food giant opened just around the corner and we were done for. All our produce sat there rotting. Our beans, our broccoli, our dandelion greens. Mum and I tried to eat everything out, but she had a weak stomach and it blew out her bowels. I'm so sorry. I got carried away. It was a most unprofessional of me. I think we have some local law enforcement here. You're the town constable.
I am the town constable.
Mervyn Pinfinder.
Mervyn is my name, yes.
Yes, Mervyn
Yes,
Pinfinder.
yes, that's my undercover name.
I see. Did you? Where are you from?
I am from London.
London. So you're not afraid with all these dangerous people in your town that you have to try to police?
Not at all, no.
Well, that makes sense. Did you read this? Did you receive this letter from Mrs. Christie? Read it.
I did indeed. It says, "Help me. I'm afraid of my life."
Afraid for my life. She's
I'm
not
afraid
afraid
for
of
my
my
life. I had a little too much of that lizard stuff.
I think so. So she's afraid. Did you help Mrs. Christie, being the town constable?
Possibly, yes.
No, you did not. In fact, shortly before Mrs. Christie's disappearance, you were seen writing unpleasant remarks about her on her white picket fence.
Some may say that.
Did you write, Aggie, you're no Jane Austen?
You are good. You're too good. I did.
But that's not all I have on you, Mr. Pinfinder. You are yourself a budding author, are you not?
I am indeed, yes.
And isn't it a fact you were angry at Mrs. Christie because she refused to help you find a publisher for your novel, A Passion for Donkeys?
Just a little bit, yes.
Passion for Donkeys, please don't tell me any more. This is like a very, very disturbed book. Now then, Mr. Pinfinder, that's all I have on you. In fact, Beulah Boffin, where is Beulah? This is right there.
Beulah?
Beulah Boffin, who is the clerk at the Berkshire Pet Parlor, told me that she saw you slip a gecko in your pocket after buying 12 crickets, Mr. Pinfinder.
Well, the baker special, yes. You gotta have 13.
Gecko grabbing is a crime.
Well, let's call my name, though. It is a crime.
And you were sworn to uphold the law. Sir, Scotland Yard searched your premises and they came up with this.
A pet gecko.
Yes, indeed. Would anyone like to adopt a nice little pet? You would? They eat houseflies?
I love geckos.
Oh, all right.
I once
dear.
wanted to buy one and my husband refused to
Oh.
go with me.
Well, now your dreams have come true. Mr. Pinfinder, you are going on my list of suspects. Sit down.
All right, dear. I'll sit down.
Now then, where was I? Oh yes, I must continue my search of the premises. Nothing there. Oh, I see something. Ah, yes. You are Prunella Pecksniff, the local chemist, are you not?
Oh, I am.
What does this say?
It says poison. Take 2 drops and die.
Poison, take 2 drops and die. What does it smell like?
Smells like poison to me.
Burnt almonds, potassium cyanide. You don't believe me? Taste it. Now then, Miss Pecksniff, do you recall selling this poison to anyone?
No.
Yes, you do. Was it perhaps Mrs. Christie's cook, the multiple named Bridget Mary Catherine Kathleen O'Hallahan?
I would remember that name.
Is she here today?
I don't know.
Look around, see if you see her.
I know who that is, huh? Oh, yes, right there.
Ah, Bridget, get up
That's
here.
the lady.
With the glasses, get up here, Bridget.
Very suspicious person. She's
Where is she? Come on. Am I going to have to call the Bobby? Get up here. Get up here.
I'm not going. You're not gonna get out of here.
Bridget, remain calm. See, this indicates guilt. Do you want to clear your name? Come here.
No.
Come on, dear.
No.
Come on, Bridget.
No.
All right. Come on. Oh, very.
I will never go. So, go. Leave me alone.
Perhaps you were mistaken, Miss Pecksniff. Is there someone else who could possibly be Bridget?
Maybe this lady was Bridget.
This lady on the end? Oh, see, Miss Pecksniff has very bad eyesight. Get up here, Bridget. I lost one. Yes, don't touch it. It's police evidence. Stand over here, Bridget. Now, Bridget Mary Catherine Kathleen O'Hallahan?
Yes.
Italian?
I think Irish.
Yes. Did you buy that bottle of poison?
No, I saw that man over there.
Don't deny it. Prunella has identified you. What did you buy it for?
To kill the rats.
The rats. You have rats in Mrs. Christie's house.
Yes.
Ah, and you wanted to kill them. Did you succeed?
No, the poison disappeared.
How strange. Miss O'Hallahan, you were recently on an extended leave of absence, were you not?
Yes.
Did you tell Mrs. Christie you were visiting your sister in Skibbereen?
Yes.
You don't have a sister in Skibbereen. In fact, I have here your discharge papers from a women's lying-in clinic in Ballybeg, where only last month you were delivered of a male infant weighing 1 stone. Big boy. Are you married, Miss O'Hallahan?
No.
But you're in love, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In fact, I happen to know that it's with the priest of St. Ignatius Church, Father Sean Patrick Michael Flaherty, who rumor has it is your baby's father.
Oh, dear.
Oh dear indeed. Scotland Yard found your diary. I heart Father Flaherty. With kiss marks on those. Very sordid. Now then, Miss O'Hallahan, Did you kill Mrs. Christie because she found out about your scandalous behavior?
Oh, no.
Read this diary entry.
September 15th, the old bag sacked me. And when she found out about little Dickie, she's a witch. She's got a direct pipeline to the devil. Once I saw her dancing naked in the backyard with old Nick himself.
What else do the voices tell you, Miss O'Hallahan? I can see she's got some very serious mental problems. I'm not getting anywhere with this interrogation, but I do want to ask you about this diary entry, dated September 1st, 1926. Madam went to London today. No sooner had she left than Colonel Christie had a winsome young lass to tea named Nancy Neal. He took her in his arms, fondled her hair, and murmured, "It's so good to see my little num-num." Later, I was just stepping into the parlor with a plate of Lucky Tatties when I saw him kiss her, and it weren't no peck on the cheek. Miss O'Hallahan, is Nancy Neal here today?
Yes, she is.
Where is she?
Right there.
Come up here, Nancy. Thank you, Miss O'Hallahan. The little num-num, the home wrecker. Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Well, no one knew.
I beg to differ. Where did you meet Archie?
In church.
No, you didn't. No, it was on the golf course. I have a witness who will swear that you linked when you winked on the links. Yes, he was very fond of your hole-in-one, wasn't he?
He had a good swing.
I see. Isn't it a fact, Miss Neal, that you were pressuring Archie to divorce Agatha and marry you?
Well, of course.
Well, of course you were. In fact, we have corroboration from that, from this letter from Archie that the police found on your premises. Read it.
I found this. Oh, precious num-num. I long to be with you. I can't stand being married to Aggie anymore. She keeps jars of dead babies on her desk, and underneath her pillow are fingernails of corpses. I mentioned divorce, but she refused to discuss it. I am in agony. Help me, your ardent and passionate slave, Archie.
Archie. Yes, indeed. Archie seems familiar, right? Did you, in fact, try to speed things along by killing Mrs. Christie?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I have it on good authority from Prunella Pecksniff, who was coming out of the White Tart pub on the evening of December 3rd, and she claims she saw you stumbling out of the moors with a bloody golf club. And she further said that when she asked you why you had such a bloody golf club, you claimed you were attacked by a hedgehog.
She saw me coming out of the moors and not the tavern?
The moors. Miss Neal, there are no hedgehogs in these parts, but Scotland Yard searched your premises and came up with this.
I don't know what to say.
Yes, perhaps you'd best retain legal counsel before you say any more. This is very damning evidence. I'm going to put it on the evidence table. Well, I call my prime suspect you, Archibald Christie, the cheating husband. Aren't you ashamed?
Yes.
Did you have an argy-bargy with your wife on December 3rd in which you asked her for a divorce?
It was the fingernails.
Sir, I have a letter here that police confiscated from Nancy Neal's apartment. Would you read the first paragraph, please?
Darling Nummy, the police found out about us and they think
I killed Aggie. Yes, I asked her for a divorce. I have a right to a normal wife. Aggie tried being normal once, and it was the worst 10 minutes of her life. She's more interested in answering her fan mail than me.
So you violated your marriage vows, you cad.
It was the babies.
Read on.
She used to go to bed every night at sunset. It was like living in Antarctica.
So while she was snoozing, you were rubbing noses with a little num-num.
Miss Neal.
Yes, indeed. Read the final paragraph.
Darling, num-num. I long to be with you. I dream every night of your succulent breasts, which are juicier than the most
Close your eyes, close your ears.
delicious kumquat. Aggie's chest looks like 2 raisins on an ironing board. I have to buy her Angora sweaters, so I'll have something to pet. I can't wait to get into your knickers again.
Oh, that is just too shocking. So you had an argy-bargy with your wife on December 3rd, in which you asked her for a divorce. Tell us more.
That's correct, and she did not agree immediately.
Sir, tire tracks to your Bentley were found next to Mrs. Christie's roadster.
Okay.
Yes, and that's not all. In fact, this revolver belonging to you was next to the car. It had recently been fired and your fingerprints were all over it.
That is my Luger.
Yes, indeed. And sir, I have a witness, a member of your household staff, who will swear that shortly after your argy-bargy with your wife, you downed a decanter of your best whiskey and snorted a line of cocaine.
It was baking soda.
You're my prime suspect. I suggest you call your barrister immediately. Sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, you now have enough evidence to solve this crime. Shortly, I shall hand out little ballots where you will vote on who done it. But before that, I want to review the evidence. We have here on the evidence table some very damning evidence. We have the unfortunate body of the late Professor Pouncer. We have Mrs. Christie's unmentionables. We have the bloody carving knife from the White Tart pub.
Huh.
We have the bottle of poison, the bloody golf club, and Archie Christie's revolver, which has recently been fired. Now let us go over our list of suspects. First, we spoke to Mrs. Christie's sister, Madge Watts, who is herself a writer, though no one's ever heard of her. Then we had little Rosalind Christie, that little brat who needs a good spanking. Would not help me. Then there was Lady Hortense Hopwell Hoggins, who isn't fond of pussies. Then we had the light-fingered lingerie lifter. Where is he?
He's handcuffed.
Oh, he's handcuffed. Oh, right. Oh, no, where's that light-fingered lingerie lifter? Oh, yeah, there he is. Couldn't find you for a moment.
Oh.
Yes, Reginald Horncastle, the light-fingered lingerie lifter. Then we had Elsie Cornfoot, the barmaid at the White Tart pub, who was angry at Mrs. Christie because she stiffed her. Then we had Mervyn Pinfinder, the town constable, who has a passion for donkeys, sick as that might be. Then we had the lovely cook, Bridget Mary Catherine O'Hallahan, who was dismissed from Mrs. Christie's employment for her scandalous behavior with a priest of all people. Next, we come to the little lovebirds, Nancy Neal, who winked at Archie on the links, and the cheating husband, Archie Christie himself, who wasn't fond of his wife's career success and petted Angora sweaters. So many suspects, so many possible people who could have done something dastardly to Mrs. Christie. Who, as they say, who done it? I shall now take a short intermission. During that intermission, I ask you to come up here and get a ballot. On this ballot, I want you to write your name legibly, please. I'm blind as a bat. And I also want you to write what happened to Agatha Christie and who is responsible. There will be a very lovely prize given for the best answer. And as an added incentive, I wanted to let you know that Scotland Yard has posted a £1,000 reward for anyone giving information leading to the safe return of Mrs. Christie. So we shall now take our break. During that break, if anyone wishes to inform on their neighbors, just come up here and whisper into my ear. It'll be our little secret. And if anyone needs to use the loo, see me for a pass. No one leaves this premises without my permission. You may now come up here and get your pencil, darling little pencils in here, and your ballots. Come on up. Come on.
They didn't find the body yet.
So when you're finished with your ballots, just give them back to me. Murderous pussycat. Right, well, I think I've gotten everyone's ballot, have I not? Yes. I want to thank you all for your very creative answers, and I shall shortly solve today's crime. However, I had been notified that there is a telegram waiting for me from Scotland Yard just out there. So I must go fetch it. In the meantime, I need someone to keep things going. Would you lead us all in a chorus of God Save the King while in my absence? Come on. Come on. You can have the microphone. I shall...
I bet this land is your land.
No, we want God Save the King. I don't know that song. Do you want the microphone?
This land is your
No.
land.
Who will sing? Stop. I don't even know that song.
California
We're in England, my dear.
to the New York
Do you lead
Times.
them?
United States.
I got fired.
Who? Would you lead them? We need someone who's going to take this seriously. This is our king we're singing about. So make sure they sit. Do you want the microphone? God save our gracious King.
God save our gracious King. Long live our noble King. God save our King. Send.
I'm singing your key. I'm not singing my
Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King.
Now, who is that a boat?
Good
Must be
evening.
Aggie.
My name is Agatha Christie. Surprise, I'm not dead. I'm so sorry to have worried everyone. Well, not everyone. Not Archie in his little trollop. In fact, I staged my disappearance so he would be suspected of a crime of passion and spend the rest of his life behind bars. I took great pleasure at the prospect of him scrubbing toilets and being the sex slave of a 3-time loser called Baby Lard. I knew my marriage was in trouble. For years, Archie refused to let me play music in the house, claiming it gave him indigestion.
Huh.
He despised all forms of heating, calling it effete. I knew he had the twitches for that loose woman of the links for months. At first, I tried to break up their liaison by paying his caddy to substitute cast iron golf balls for the real ones. However, his caddy reported that when they were unable to tee off, the little lovebirds ran into the woods for some off-green putting. Then, when Cook informed me that the little num-num was coming to tea, I paid her handsomely to whip up a batch of lucky tatties laced with Swiss Chris laxative powder. However, Cook reported that such was their ardor for each other that they never took a bite of the lucky tatties. So then I knew I had to do something desperate. On the evening of December 3rd, I ran into Archie's study, waving his revolver, threatening to kill myself. A fight ensued as he tried to wrest it from me. I got his fingerprints all over it as it went off. Then I jumped into my Morris Crowley roadster, headed for the moors. It was a dark and stormy night, and so Archie followed, but owing to the fog, I lost him. It was then that I set the scene of the crime. I left behind a few pieces of damning evidence, and I took the last train for Harrogate. There, I checked into the hydrotherapy hotel under an assumed name. It was also there that I rendezvoused with an inamorato of my own. His name is Max Mallowan. He's an archaeologist, 15 years my junior. Fresh meat, as they say. We were making whoopee in the mud baths when a tattling towel boy recognized me and turned me in for the £1,000 reward. But no matter. Now that I've had the pleasure of publicly humiliating Archie, Max and I are going on an archaeological dig in Egypt on the Orient Express. There's nothing like digging up skeletons and cavorting with mummies to rev up one's libido. So for now, I shall say cheerio, but stay seated. I will send that strange little detective woman back post-haste. Cheerio!
Murder's happening.
Al, you want to check? She's calling for help. Oh, the hedgehog.
Yes, the little num-num was right. There are hedgehogs in these parts. I had to impale him with my nail files because he attacked me. This is a very dangerous place. No doubt about it. Now then, I shall solve tonight's crime. But before I do, I would like to thank all of you who accuse me of being the killer. For you, I have that leftover batch of lucky tatties. And for that person who thought Professor Pouncer turned into the attack cat from hell and got into Archie's croquet and clawed Agatha to death. You have a very active imagination. And for that person who wondered if Archie had any more cocaine. That is illegal, I am shocked. But if you want more information, see me later. Now then, I would like to read some of the incorrect answers, which are really quite bizarre. Someone said she ate a gecko and died. This person said Agatha Christie loved to play golf, snuck into the links one evening to hit a few golf balls. The 9th hole was in the lake. Donald Trump, whoever that is, was inspecting his club, saw that Agatha was trying to play golf without paying, and he offed her with his own club. Her own club. She's buried in her neighbor's petunia bed. Agatha Christie drove into the marsh, planning to meet the pharmacist, believing she was meeting a man with the cuffs, and in response to a note sent by the pharmacist was really a ventriloquist and pretended to be Agatha Christie's cat. But out in the marsh, Agatha Christie went into the marsh to retrieve the cat. The pharmacist, who was in love with Mr. Christie, bumped her on the head from the position in a dead tree, assuring that she would fall in and die, and they think the pharmacist, Prunella Pecksmith, is responsible. Oh my God, this is another novel. This person says, she spurned Mervyn Pinfinder's advances, degraded his manhood by likening him to a donkey. And this person said she ran away to get breast implants. Well, no one got it exactly right. So we're going to have a drawing to choose the right answer. Innocent bystander. Who's innocent bystander? Oh, all right. Innocent bystander said she left town after tussling with her husband, hitched a ride to a hospital in London, went to Belgium to work with Hercule Poirot. She was tired of the whole bunch of them, needed a bigger part. Well, sort of, innocent bystander. Come up here.
Huh.
You are the lucky winner, and I have for you the lovely little love hearts that little Rosalind gave you. Congratulations on your ace detective work, innocent bystander. Thank you so much. Now then, I want to thank you all for assisting me in solving this crime, but for those of you who were suspects, you remain suspects. And that means you, pussy plunderer, and you light-fingered lingerie lifter, and you gecko grabber. See that you keep on the straight and narrow, or I shall have to return and open up my investigation once again. But for now, we will conclude with another